Hi viewers, welcome to Bodhimara Academy YouTube channel. நம்ம லாஸ்ட் கிளாஸில் 10th சயின்ஸில் யூனிட் 16 கம்ப்ளீட் 1 மார்க் மெட்டீரியல் நம்ம அப்லோட் பண்ணியிருந்தோம். ஸோ இன்றைக்கி நம்ம யூனிட் 17 ரீப்ரொடக்ஷன் இன் பிளான்ஸ் அண்ட் அனிமல்ஸ், இந்த யூனிட்டில் ஒரு 185 கொஸ்டின் இருக்குது. சரிங்களா, ரொம்ப அருமையான கொஸ்டின்ஸ்லாம் இருக்குது. எல்லாத்தையும் கம்ப்ளீட் பண்ணிடலாம் அந்த யூனிட்டு. ஸோ இது ஃபுல்லாமே புக் இன்செட் ஒர்க்கு. ஓகே, 1 மார்க்ஸ். ஸோ லைக், சப்ஸ்கிரைப் அண்ட் கமெண்ட் யுவர் டவுட்ஸ் பிலோ. ஓகே, ரைட். ஸோ இதில் வந்து ஃபஸ்ட்டு நம்ம எம்சிக்யூ செக்ஷன் நம்ம பார்க்கலாம். 1 to 17 வரைக்கும் எம்சிக்யூ தான். ஸோ ஃபஸ்ட் கொஸ்டின், த பிளான்ட் விச் ப்ரொபகேட்ஸ் வித் த ஹெல்ப் ஆஃப் இட்ஸ் லீவ்ஸ் இஸ் என்ன? ஆனியன், நீம், ஜிஞ்சர், ப்ரையோ ஃபைலம் அப்படிங்கிறது. ஸோ வித் ஹெல்ப் ஆஃப் இட்ஸ் லீவ்ஸ்னு ப்ரையோ ஃபைலம். எக்ஸ்பிளைன்ஸ்ல பாருங்க. Bryophyllum, small plants grow at the leaf notches, a form of vegetative reproduction leaves. Question number 2. A strawberry vegetative reproduction occurs through leaves, roots, aerial weak stems, bulbs அப்படின்னு சொல்லிருப்பாங்க. ஆன்சர் என்ன? C. Aerial weak stems. Aerial weak stems of strawberry touches the ground and give off the advantage roots and buds and form new plants. Question number 3. Tuberous roots used for vegetative propagation include asparagus and carrot, sweet potato, radish, beetroot. Sweet potato. Tuberous roots of asparagus and sweet potato can be used for vegetative propagation. Question number 4. Modified globose flower buds that grow into the new plants when fallen on the ground are called என்ன வரும்? ஆப்ஷன் பாருங்க, என்ன வரும்? ஆன்சர் வந்து bulbils. Bulbils are modified flower buds seen in plants like agava that grow into new plants and falling into the ground. Okay. Question number 5. Breaking of a filament into many fragments, each forming a new filament is called என்ன பேர் அதுக்கு? Yes, C. Fragmentation. Fragmentation occurs in filamentous algae like Spirogyra, where each fragment can develop into new filament. Question number 6. In amoeba, the parent cell divides into two daughter cells by in a process: budding, fission, fragmentation, sporulation. அப்படினு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா ஆன்சர் வந்து fission. In fission, the parent cell divides into two daughter cells, each develop into new adult organism. Question number 7. Formation of daughter individual from a small projection on the parent body is called budding, fission, regeneration, fragmentation. Answer வந்து yes, budding. Budding is seen in yeast where small bud arises on the parent body and forms a new daughter individual. Okay. Question number 8. The ability of the lost body parts to regenerate into whole new organism is seen in amoeba and yeast, hydra and planaria, spirogyra and rhizopus, pyrophyllum and agava அப்படினு பார்த்தம்போது ஆன்சர் என்ன? எஸ், ஆப்ஷன் பி, hydra and planaria. அடுத்தன, so regeneration occurs through the specialized mass of cells as in hydra and planaria. ஓகேவா, ரைட். அடுத்து question number 9. Asexual reproduction takes place through budding, amoeba, yeast, plasmodium, bacteria அப்படின்னு பார்க்கும்போது இதுக்கு ஆன்சர் என்ன அப்படின்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா yeast. Yeast reproduces asexually by budding, forming chains of buds from the parent cell. அதுதானே? ஓகே, இது வந்து அடுத்த கொஸ்டின் 10. Asexual reproduction by spore formation is most common in இதில் ரொம்ப மோஸ்ட் காமனாக ரொம்ப இம்பார்ட்டன்ட் கொஸ்டின். ஃபங்கை அண்ட் பாக்டீரியா, மம்மல்ஸ், பேர்ட்ஸ், ஆல்கே அண்ட் ப்ரோட்டோசோவா ஒன்லி, ரெப்டைல்ஸ் அண்ட் ஆம்பிபியன்ஸ். எஸ், கரெக்டான இது என்னதுன்னா ஃபங்கை அண்ட் பாக்டீரியா. Spore formation as seen in the rhizopus is the most common method for asexual reproduction in fungi and bacteria. Question number 11. The structure that develops from the fungal hypa during spore formation is called என்ன வரும்? யோசிச்சு பாருங்க, ஆப்ஷன்ல கொடுத்துருக்கோம். எஸ், ஆப்ஷன் பி, sporangium. அப்படின்னா the nucleus divides several times within the sporangium and each nucleus develops into spore. ஓகே, ரைட். அடுத்து question number 12. A flower consists of 4 holes born on a என்ன வரும்னா thalamus அப்படிதானே. A flower is a modified shoot with 4 valves, calyx, corolla, androecium, gynosium, born on the thalamus. Question number 13. Non-essential or accessory whorls of a flower are androecium, gynosium, calyx, corolla, calyx, androecium, corolla, gynosium அப்படின்னு கேட்டிருக்காங்க. So option answer B. Yes, calyx and corolla. Calyx and corolla are the two outermost whorls and do not directly take part the reproduction. Yes. Question number 14. The essential parts of the flower are calyx and corolla, calyx and androecium, corolla and gynosium, androecium, gynosium. So option C அப்படிங்கிறது உங்களுக்கே தெரியும். Androecium, gynosium. Option D. Androecium and gynosium directly take part in reproduction, hence called essential whorls. So, நம்ம 15th question போலாம். Each stamen consists of stalk called the filament and a tip structure called stigma and the style ovary. Answer என்னது? Answer B. Anther. Anther is a small bag-like structure at the tip of the filament where pollen grains are produced. Question number 16. The hard outer layer of the pollen grain wall is known as intine, exine, tonica and testa. Answer வந்து exine. Exine is a hard outer layer of the pollen grain wall having prominent aperture called germ pores. Question number 17. The thin inner layer of the pollen grain wall made up of cellulose and pectin is called exine, intine, aril, funiculus. Answer on the intine B. Intine is a thin continuous layer of the pollen grain wall made up of cellulose and pectin. Question number 18. A mature pollen grain contains two cells, the vegetative cell and egg cell, syncytid, generative cell, antipodal cell, generative cell. The generative cell divides meiotically to form two male gametes. The vegetative cell contains a large nucleus. Question number 19. Gynosium, the female part of the flower, is made up of sepals, petals, stamens, carpels. Answer is carpels. Gymnosium is composed of carpels and has three parts: ovary, style, stigma. The main question number 20. The main part of the oil enclosed by the two integuments is called funiculus, salasa, and nucleus micropyle. Answer the nucleus. The nucleus is the main part of the oval enclosed by the two integuments which leave an opening called micropyle. Question number 21. The opening left by the two integuments of the oval is called hilum, micropyle, salasa and the funiculus. Option B, micropyle. The pollen tube enters the oval through the micropyle to reach the embryo sac. Question number 22. The stalk that attaches the oval to the ovary wall is called salasa, micropyle, funiculus, nucleus. Answer C, funiculus. The funiculus is stalk attached the oval to the ovary wall. Salasa is basal buds. Okay. Question number 23. The embryo sac contains 7 cells and how many nuclei located within the nucleus? 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. Answer C, 8th. The embryo sac contains 7 cells and the 8th nuclei. The two polar nuclei together form a one combined nucleus position located within the nucleus. Question number 24. In the egg apparatus, the two cells accompanying the egg cell are called antipodal cells, polar nuclei, syncytids, அப்புறம் generative cells. So answer வந்து synergids. சரிங்களா? The egg apparatus at the micropylar and consists micropylar end consists of a egg cell and two syncytids. Question number 25. The three cells located at the salasa end of the embryo sac are called syncytids, antipodal cell, polar nuclei, egg cells. So answer on the antipodal cells. The three cells at the salasa end of the embryo sac are called antipodal cells. Question number 26. The transfer of pollen grains from the anther to stigma of a flower is called. This is very easy. Pollination. Pollination results in fertilization, which leads to the formation of fruits and seeds. Question number 27. Self pollination is also known as a important question. Autogamy. Self-pollination is the transfer of pollen within the same flower or another flower of the same plant is called autogamy. Question number 28. Which of the following is an example of self-pollination? Apple, hibiscus, grapes, plum. பார்த்தீங்கன்னா இது self-pollination? Yes, answer B. Hibiscus. Hibiscus is a commonly cited example of self-pollinated autogamous flower. Question number 29. Which of the following is not a disadvantage of self-pollination? Seeds are less in number, endosperm minute, new varieties cannot be produced, more wastage of pollen grains. இது எது வந்து self-pollination disadvantage கிடையாதுன்னு சொல்லியிருக்காங்க. So the more wastage of pollen grains. The more wastage of pollen is a disadvantage of cross pollination, not self pollination. Okay, right. Question number 30. Cross pollination leads to weak plants only, production of new varieties of plants, minute endosperm, reduced seed number always. Answer on the production of new varieties of plants. Seeds from cross pollination develop and germinate properly, leading to new varieties through gene combination. Question number 31. Pollination with the help of wind is called entomophily, anemophily, hydrophily, zoophily. என்ன வரும்? Anemophily. அடுத்தனா anemophily flowers produce anemophile small, smooth, light pollen grains suited for wind transport. Question number 32. Anomalous flower typically have stigmas that are sessile and smooth, small and sticky, large, protruding and hairy, brightly colored. Answer C. Large, protruding and hairy. Large, protruding and sometimes hairy stigmas help trap wind-borne pollen grains. Question number 33. The pollen of wind pollinated plants can be blown into to a distance of more than 100 km, 1000 km, 10,000 km. So 1000 km. Anemophilous pollen being light and dry can travel over 1000 km from the source plant. அந்த அளவுக்கு கூட அது பறக்கும். Question number 34. Pollination with the help of insects is called anemophily, entomophily, hydrophily, zoophily. இந்த மாதிரி question important. So entomophily flowers are brightly colored with a smell and a nectar to attract insects like honeybees. Question number 35. Approximately what percentage of insect pollination is carried out to honeybees? 50, 60, 70, 80. ல பார்த்தீங்கன்னா 80% of insect pollination is carried out by honeybees. Question number 36. Pollination with the help of water is anemophily, entomophily, hydrophily, zoophily. So hydrophily அப்படியே உங்களுக்கு தெரியும், ஏன்னா ஹைட்ரோனாலே வாட்டர். Hydrophily occurs in aquatic plants like Hydrilla, Vallisneria, where pollen floats on water. அடுத்த question number 37. Pollination with the help of animals is called. So animals, zoophily. Sunbirds pollinating canal, gladoli, and squirrels pollinating silk cotton tree are example zoophily. Question number 38. The tube-like structure formed with a pollen grain after germination on the stigma is called style, pollen tube, micropyle tube, filament tube. Pollen tube. The pollen tube emerges through the germ pore and grows through the style to reach the ovule. Question number 39. The fusion of one sperm with the egg to form diploid zygote is called triple fusion, syngamy, double fertilization, pollination. Syngamy. Syngamy is a fusion of one male gamete with the egg forming the diploid zygote. Question number 40. Syngamy result in the formation of Zoophorus, Conidia, zygote, அப்புறம் Salmodospores அப்படிங்கும்போது zygotes. The fusion of male and female gametes, syngamy result in the formation of diploid zygote. Question number 40 வரைக்கும் பார்த்துருக்கோம். Question number 41 பார்க்கலாம். The fusion of second sperm with the secondary nucleus is called syngamy, triple fusion, self pollination, gastrulation அப்படிங்கும்போது triple fusion. Option B. Triple fusion forms a primary endosperm nucleus which is triploid in nature. Question number 42. The occurrence of both syngamy and triple fusion in an embryo sac is termed self-fertilization, double fertilization, cross-fertilization, parthenogenesis. So, double fertilization. Double fertilization is unique to angiosperms involving two types of fusion in one embryo sac. Question number 43. After fertilization, the ovary enlarges and develops into seed, fruit, endosperm, embryo. ரொம்ப important question. Option B. Fruit. Fertilization stimulates the ovary to develop into fruit. while the ovule becomes a seed. சரிங்களா, ஓவரிங் கேட்டாங்கன்னா ஃப்ரூட், ஓவில் கேட்டாங்கன்னா seed. Question number 44. Sexual reproduction involves a fusion of two haploid gametes to form a haploid gamete, diploid zygote, triploid endosperm, tetraploid cell. Option B. Diploid zygote. The fusion of male and female haploid gametes form a diploid zygote which develops into new individual. Question number 45. The reproductive glands of the male lying in the scrotum are called epididymis, testis, vas deferens, seminal vesicle. அப்படிங்கும்போது ஆப்ஷன் பி testis. Testis are oval shaped reproductive glands of the male located outside the abdominal cavity in the scrotum. Question number 46. The layer of the fibrous tissues covering each testis is called tunica albuginea, peritoneum, stroma, endometrium. Answer on the A. Tunica albuginea. Spetta from the tunica albuginea divide the testis into pyramial lobulus containing semiferous tubules. Question number 47. Spermatogenesis takes place in the epididymis, vas deferens, semiferous tubules, prostate gland, seminiferous tubules. சரிங்களா? Sertoli cells and Leydig cells lie within the semiferous tubules where spermatogenesis occurs. Question number 48. The supporting cells that provide nutrition to developing sperms are primary germ cells, Sertoli cells, Leydig cell, spermatogenea. Option B. Sertoli cells. Sertoli cells are the supporting cells of the seminiferous tubules that nourish developing sperms. Question number 49. The polyhedral interstitial cells that lie between seminiferous tubules and segregate testosterone are Sertoli cells, Leydig cells, granular cells, germinal epithelium cell, Leydig cells. Leydig cells secrete testosterone which initiate the process of spermatogenesis. Question number 50. The accessory sex organ in the female include all of the following except fallopian tubes, uterus, vagina, ovaries. Option D. Ovaries. Ovaries are the primary reproductive organ. Gonads and fallopian tubes, uterus, cervix, and vagina are accessory organs. Question number 51. The cortex of the ovary is composed of connective tissues called medulla, stroma, endometrium, corona, radiata. Option B. Stroma. The cortex of the ovary is a network of connective tissues called stroma lined by germinal epithelium. Question number 52. The epithelial cells surrounding each ovum in the ovary forming the primary follicle are called Sertoli cells, granular cell, Leydig cells, germinal cells. Option B. Granular cells. Granular cells surround the ovum forming the primary follicle which later becomes the Graafian follicle. Question number 53. The enlarged fluid filled follicle in the ovary is called, ரொம்ப important question, primary follicle, corpus albicans, Graafian follicle, corpus luteum. Option C. Graafian follicle. As the egg grows larger, the follicle enlarges and gets filled with the fluid forming the Graafian follicle. Question number 54. During a woman's lifetime, she will only ovulate how many of the 1 to million eggs she was born with? அப்படி பார்த்தா 7 மில்லியன்ஸ் இல்லாமல் போட்டிருப்பாங்க. ஆப்ஷன் 300 to 400. சரிங்களா? Out of 1 to 2 million eggs at birth, only 300 to 400 are ovulated during woman's reproductive lifetime. Question number 55. The cap-like structure at the anterior portion of the sperm head is called, ரொம்ப இம்பார்ட்டன்ட் கொஸ்டின். அடுத்து சென்ட்ரியோல், acrosome, mitochondria, flagellum போட்டிருப்பாங்க. Options B. Acrosome. The acrosome contain hyaluronidase and an enzyme that helps the sperm enter the ovum during fertilization. Question number 56. The middle piece of the human sperm contains acrosome. இது middle piece அப்படின்னா acrosome, nucleus, mitochondria, zona, pellucida அப்படின்னு போடும்போது mitochondria. The mitochondria is the middle piece provider energy for the movement of the tail, bringing about sperm motility. Question number 57. The outer thick membrane of the human ovum formed of follicle cells is the option C. Corona radiata. The corona radiata is the outermost membrane of the ovum formed by follicle cells. 58. Question number 58. Generally, the boys attains puberty between the age of, இது ஒரு important question, 13 to 14 years. நம்ம ஈஸியாக தெரியும். Boy generally attains puberty between 13 to 14 years, while girls reach puberty earlier between 11 to 13 years. Question number 59. In males, the onset of puberty is triggered by the secretion of estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, prolactin. Option C, testosterone. Testosterone secretion from the testes triggers the onset of puberty in males. Question number 60. The first occurrence of menstruation marking the onset of puberty is called menopause, menarche, ovulation, gestation. So, menarche. Menarche occurs at the age of 11 to 13 years, marking the onset of menstrual cycle and puberty. Question number 61. The phase of the menstrual cycle in which the breakdown of uterine endometrial lining leads to the bleeding is the follicular phase, ovulatory phase, luteal phase, menstrual phase. Option D, menstrual phase. The menstrual phase lasts 4-5 days, during which decreasing progesterone and estrogen cause the endometrial lining to break down. Question number 62. Ovulation occurs on which day of the typical 20-day menstrual cycle? This is an easy question. 14th day. On the 14th day, Graafian follicle ruptures and releases the ovum, coinciding with the L-Gates peak. Question number 63. Luteal phase of the menstrual cycle is also called proliferative phase, destructive phase, secretory phase, ovulatory phase. Option C, secretory phase. The luteal phase is called the secretory phase because the corpus luteum secretes progesterone during this time. Question number 64. Fertilization in humans is internal and usually takes place in the uterus, cervix, ambula of the fallopian tube, ovary. Ambula of option C in the ambula of the fallopian tube. Fertilization in human occurs internally, usually in the ambula of region of the oviduct, fallopian tube. Question number 65. The oocyte remains alive after release from the follicle for about 24 hours. Fertilization must take place within the 24 hours. The oocyte is alive for about a long after ovulation. Question number 66. The first cleavage of the zygote takes place about 6 hours after fertilization, 12 hours, 30 hours, 40 years after fertilization. Option C, 30 hours after fertilization. Cleavage is series of rapid mitotic divisions of the zygote beginning around 30 hours after fertilization. Question number 67. The fertilized egg becomes implanted in the uterus about how many days after fertilization? இது ஒரு ஈஸியான கொஸ்டின் 6 to 7 days அப்படிதானே the blastocyte reaches the uterus and gets implanted in the endometrium about 6 to 7 days after fertilization. Question number 68. The normal human gestation period lasts about for about 280 days. Normally, the human gestation pregnancy period lasts about 280 days, during which the uterus expands greatly. Question number 69. If two eggs are released and each is fertilized by the different sperm, the result is identical twin, non-identical twin, conjoined twins, a single fetus only அப்படிம்பாங்க. Option B, non-identical, சரிங்களா, fraternal twins. Two eggs fertilized with the different sperms result in non-identical fraternal twins, unlike identical twins from the single fertilized egg. ஏன்னா identical twins வந்து single fertilized eggனால வரும், இது வேற. Question number 70. Question number 70. Which of the following is an intrauterine contraceptive device? IUCD அப்படிம்பாங்க. So copper T, oral pills, diaphragm, tubertomy அப்படிங்கிறது. So answer A, copper T. Copper T along with the Lippis loop is commonly used intrauterine device in India, remaining effective for 3 years. ஸோ இது வரைக்கும் எம்சிக்கு பார்த்தோம். நம்ம அடுத்து ஃபில்லிங் த பிளாங்க்ஸ் இதுலேருந்து பார்க்க போகிறோம். செக்ஷன் பியில் இதுலேயும் நமக்கு வந்து ஒரு 80 கொஸ்டின் இருக்குது. 71லேருந்து 150 வரைக்கும் பார்க்க போகிறோம் ஃபில்லிங் த பிளாங்க்ஸ். Question number 71. New plantals formed from vegetative cells, buds or organs of a plant is called dash production. Vegetative production. Vegetative production has only mitotic divisions, no gametic fusion, and produces genetically similar daughter plants. Question number 72. In Pyrophyllum, small plants grow at the leaf notches. நம்ம முன்னாடியே பார்த்தோம் அதுதானே. So vegetative reproduction by leaves. Question number 73. In strawberry, aerial weak stems touches the ground and give off adventitious roots and buds. When the connection with the parent plant is broken, the offspring with the adventitious roots and buds becomes independent. Question number 74. Breaking of filament into many fragments in filamentous algae is நம்மளுக்கு தெரியும் fragmentation. அப்படிதானே each fragment of Spirogyra having at least one cell may give rise to a new filament. Question number 75. The reproduction of production of the offspring by a single parent without formation and fusion of gametes is called asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction involves only mitotic cell division with no meiosis occurring. Question number 76. During spore formation, rhizopus, the nucleus divides several times within the sporangium. Use a nucleus with a small amount of cytoplasm develops into spore with a sporangium. Question number 77. A flower is a modified shoot with a limited growth that carries out dash production, sexual production. A flower consists of 4 valves borne on a thalamus, serving as the reproductive organ of the flowering plant. Question number 78. The pollen grains are produced in the anther within the dash pollen sac. Explanation. Each stamen has a filament and the anther pollen grains develop inside the pollen sac of the anther. Question number 79. Pollen grains are usually dash in shape, spherical. Typical pollen grain has a spherical shape with a two-layered wall, the extend and intend. Question number 80. The vegetative cell of the mature pollen grain contains a large nucleus. While the vegetative cell has a large nucleus, the generative cell divides into form two male gametes. Question number 81. The ovary contains the ovules. The ovary is one of the three parts of the gymnasium along the style stigma and houses the ovules. Question number 82. Dash is the basal part of the ovule. நம்ம முன்னாடி பார்த்தோம் salasa. Salasa is the basal part of the ovule where the funiculus joins the body of the ovule. Question number 83. In the egg apparatus, one cell is the egg cell and the remaining two cells are called syncytids. The egg apparatus located at the micropylar and end of the embryo sac consists of egg cell and two syncytids. Question number 84. The two nuclei found in the center of the embryo sac are called dash nuclei, polar nuclei. Two polar nuclei located at the center in the embryo sac fuse with the second male gamete during triple fusion. Question number 85. The process of sexual reproduction in flowering plants involves pollination and fertilization. Pollination is followed by fertilization, leading to the formation of seed and fruits. Question number 86. New varieties of plants are formed through new combination of genes in the case of dash pollination, cross pollination. So, cross pollination leads to the genetic variation producing offspring with a new combination of genes from the two parent plants. Question number 87. In self pollination, flowers do not depend on dash for pollination agents, external agency. So, self pollination is possible in bisexual flowers without relying on wind, water, insect, animals. Question number 88. Cross pollination is the transfer of pollen from the anther of the flower to the stigma of the flower dash plant on the same process species another plant. Grapes, apples, plum, 89. In hydrophyly, pollen grains float on the surface of water until they land on the stigma of dash flowers, female flowers. Hydrophyly, seen in Hydrilla, from Wallisteria, involves pollen grains produced in large number that float to reach female flowers. Question number 90. In entomophilis flowers, the extent of pollen grain is dash, allowing it to adhere to the sticky stigma, pitted, spiny, etc. Insected pollinator flower pollen grains are large insects with pitted, spiny extent for firm adherence to the stigma. அடுத்து question number 91. Question number 91 போலாம். Squirrels pollinate the flowers of the dash tree, silk cotton. முன்னாடியே ஒன்றுல பார்த்தோம், zoobelly. சரிங்களா? Includes pollination by sunbirds, cana, gladioli, and squirrel silk cotton tree. 92. The pollen tube emerges from the dash of the pollen grain, germ 4. After germination of the stigma, the pollen tube emerges through the germ 4, carrying the contents of the pollen grain. Question 93. The pollen tube grows through the tissues of the stigma and style and finally reaches the ovule through the micropyle. Once the pollen tube reaches the ovule via the micropyle, its tip bursts to release the two sperm into the embryo sac. Question number 94. The vegetative cell of the pollen grain dash as the generative cell divided into two sperms degenerates. After the vegetative cell degenerates, the two sperm move through the pollen tube to the embryo sac. Question number 95. After triple fusion, the primary endosperm nucleus develops into dash endosperm. Endosperm provides a food for developing embryo within the seed. Question number 96. After fertilization, the syngenous and antipodal cells eventually dash degenerate. Once the fertilization is complete, syngenous and antipodal cells having served their role degenerate. Question number 97. Fertilization helps in the development of new characters from dash different individuals too. Fertilization combines genetic material from two parents contributing to genetic variations in offspring. Question number 98. The integuments of the ovule develop into the dash seed coat. Forced fertilization, the ovule becomes seed, integuments become seed coat, and the ovary becomes the fruits. Question number 99. The seed contains a future plant or dash which develops into seedling under appropriate condition, embryo. The embryo within the seed grows into seedling once favorable conditions are met. Question number 100. In human beings, the male and female reproductive organs differ and as physiological, anatomically different இருக்கும், physiological different இருக்கும். New individual developed by the fusion of male and female gametes that are produced by anatomically and distinct organs. Question number 101. The accessory sex organ in the male include vas deferens and epidermis, seminal vessel, and prostate gland or penis. These accessory organs in males assist in transport, storage, and delivery of sperm. 102. The accessory sex organ in females include fallopian tubes, uterus, cervix, and dash, vagina. These organs are involved in ovulation, fertilization, embryo development, pregnancy, and childbirth. 103. Many speta from the Tunica albuginea divide the testes into dash lobulus pyramidal. Each pyramidal lobule contains semiparous tubulus, Sertoli cells, and Leydig cells. 104. The ovaries are located on either side of the lower abdomen and composed of two dash-shaped bodies, almond. Each almond-shaped ovary lies near the lateral end of the fallopian tube. 105. The ovary is a compact structure consisting of outer cortex and an inner dash medulla. The cortex contains follicles in various stages, while the medulla forms the inner core of the ovary. Question number 106. The number of primordial follicles in a newborn female child ranges over dash million, 7 million. In puberty, this number reduces drastically to around 60,000 to 70,000 follicles. 107. During the reproductive period at puberty, the number of follicles around 62. Question number 108. Men will produce over dash billion sperms in the lifetime, 500 billion. Okay. This contrasts with the limited 300 to 400 eggs ovulated by the woman in her lifetime. 109. The formation of the sperm in the male and ovum in female is collectively called gametogenesis. Gametogenesis involves spermatogenesis in males and oogenesis in females, producing haploid gametes. 110. The spermatozoon consists of head, middle space, and tail. Sperm head contains a condensed nucleus and acrosome. The tail is essential for motility. 111. The sperm head is elongated and is formed with a condensation of the nucleus. The acrosome cap covers the anterior portion of this condensed nucleus. 112. A short neck connects the head and the middle piece of the sperm, which comprises the centrioles. The neck region houses centrioles that play a role in early embryonic cell division after fertilization. 113. The mature ovum or egg is dash in shape and almost free of all, spherical. Ovum contains abundant cytoplasm and the nucleus surrounded by the three protective membranes. 114. The plasma membrane of the ovum is surrounded by the inner thin zona pellucida. Beyond the zona pellucida lies the outer thick corona radiata formed by the follicle cells. 115. The membrane forming the surface layer of the ovum is called the membrane. Dash membrane, vitelline membrane. The space between the zona pellucida and this membrane is called the perivitelline space. 116. The reproductive system in both males and females becomes functional with an increase in dash hormone production resulting in puberty sex. This phenomenon puberty tends to start early in females than in males. 117. Girls generally reach puberty between 11 to 13 years of age. In females, onset puberty is triggered by the secretion of estrogen and the progesterone from the ovary. These hormones secretion are controlled by the pituitary gonadotropins, LH and FSH. 119. Secretion of both female and male hormones under the control of pituitary gonadotropin, LH and FSH. இப்போ தான் மேலே பார்த்தோம். LH னா luteinizing hormone, FSH னா follicle stimulating hormone. 120. The menstrual cycle ceases around 40 to 50 years of age, and this stage is called menopause. Menopause marks the end of the reproductive period in females, opposite to menarche, which marks its onset. சரிங்களா? Okay. 121. The menstrual cycle is marked with the characteristic events repeated almost every தெரியும் நமக்கு மந்தில் 28 நாள் 24 நடந்துங்க physiology normal one. The cycle consists of 4 phases with a minor variation from the typical 20-day duration. 1 to 2. During the follicular phase, primary follicles grow into become a fully mature dash follicle, Graafian follicle. This phase, 6th to 13th day, is accompanied by the increase in FSH, estrogen, and endometrium regeneration. 1 to 3. During the ovulatory phase, the Graafian follicle rupture and releases the ovum egg. This occurs on the 14th day of the cycle, coinciding with the LH peak, increased endometrial thickness. 1 to 4. During the luteal phase, the embedded Graafian follicle develops into the corpus luteum. The corpus luteum secretes progesterone, which prepares the endometrium for implantation. 1 to 5. If fertilization does not occur during the luteal phase, the corpus luteum dies and bleeding starts. Degeneration of the corpus luteum leads to the drop in progesterone, causing the uterine wall to rupture and bleed. 126. These phases of the menstrual cycle, ovary and uterus, are induced by pituitary hormones, LH and FSH, and ovarian hormones, estrogen and progesterone. These four hormones together regulate the synchronous changes seen in both ovary and uterus. 127. Lack of menstruation generally indicates pregnancy. Menstruation continues from the puberty to menopause unless released ovum is fertilized by sperm. 128. The fertilization takes place. The corpus luteum persists and continues to secrete dash till end of the pregnancy progesterone. So this maintains a thickened uterine wall and prevents maturation of another follicle. 129. The sperm enters in the ovum and fuses with it, resulting in the formation of zygote. நம்மளுக்கு தெரியும் மேல் ஃபீமேல் எல்லாம் சேருது gametes சேருது. This process of fusion is called fertilization. Zygote is a fertilized ovum. Cleavage is a series of rapid நம்ம முன்னாடி பார்த்தா mitotic divisions of zygote to form the blastula. The resulting blastocysts comprise an outer layer of smaller cells and inner mass of the larger cells. 131. The process of attachment of the blastocyst to the uterine wall endometrium is called implantation. Implantation occurs about 6 to 7 days after fertilization. 132. The transformation of blastula into gastrula with the formation of primary germ layers is called gastrulation. Gastrulation takes place after implantation and forms ectoderm, mesoderm, endoderm. 133. The establishment of germ layers initiates the final phase of the embryonic development called organogenesis. During organogenesis, various organs of the fetus are established from the different germ layers. 134. The placenta is a dash-shaped structure attached to the uterine wall, disc-shaped. It is a temporary association between the developing embryo and maternal tissues. 135. The placenta allows exchange of food material, division of oxygen, extraction of nitrogen waste, and elimination of carbon dioxide. The exchange occurs with the umbilical cord which connects the placenta with the fetus. 136. Pregnancy. Gestation is the time period during which the embryo attains its development in the uterus. During this period, lasting about 2 to 80 days, uterus expands up to 500 times in a normal size. 137. Oxytocin from the posterior pituitary stimulates uterine contraction and provides force to expel the baby, causing birth. Parturition. Parturition is the expulsion of the young one from the mother's uterus at the end of the gestation. 138. If a single egg is fertilized and then divides into two fetuses and twins develop identical. This is a contrast to the non-identical paternal tubes which arises from two separately fertilized eggs. நம்ம முன்னாடி பார்த்தோம். 139. The process of milk production of the child from the mammary glands of the mother is called lactation. Lactation is normally regulated by the prolactin, milk production, and oxytocin, milk extraction. 140. The first fluid released from the mammary gland of the child is called colostrum. This is ஒரு important word. Colostrum contains the immune substance and provides essential immunity to the newborn. அடுத்து question number 141. Milk production from alveoli of mammary glands is stimulated by dash secreted from the anterior pituitary, prolactin. While prolactin stimulates milk production, நமக்கு தெரியும் oxytocin posterior pituitary stimulates milk ejection. 142. According to WHO, reproductive health means total well-being in all aspects of reproduction and the ability to produce regular fertility. It also includes a safe childbirth and maternal and infant survival and well-being. Question number 143. The National Family Welfare Program includes maternal and child health care, immunization, nutritional supplements, and dash with health education. Contraception. This component motivates couples to accept contraceptive methods and small family norms. 144. The RSCH program has integrated services including pregnancy and childbirth, postnatal care, importance of breastfeeding and prevention of reproductive tract infection and dash sexually transmitted disease STDs அப்படிமாங்கல்ல RCH அப்படின்னா reproductive and child health care program. 145. Population explosion is defined as a sudden and rapid rise in the size of the population, especially dash population, human population. India was one of the first countries in the world to launch a nationwide family planning program in 1952. அது ஞாபகம் வச்சுக்கோங்க. 146. The inverted red triangle is displayed along with the slogan dash happy family அப்படின்னா small family. The symbol is displayed at the hospital, primary health clinic and family welfare center where family planning advice is free. Question number 147. Barrier methods of contraception prevent sperms from meeting the dash ovum. Example of barrier methods include condom and diaphragm, cervical cap. 148. Condoms are made up of thin dash of or latex sheath and also protect against STDs like syphilis and AIDS. Rubber condoms prevent deposition of sperms in the vagina, acting as a physical barrier. 149. Hormonal contraceptive pills interfere with the dash, preventing the release of egg from the ovulation. These hormonal prevention are taken in the form of pills or tablets. 150. Copper tea, made up of copper and plastic, can remain in the uterus for a period of dash years. ரொம்ப important, 3 years. Reducing sperm fertilization capacity. Copper tea also prevents implantation and gives adequate time interval between pregnancies. ஸோ இப்போ நம்ம fill in the blanks பார்த்தோம். இப்போ செக்ஷன் சியில் ஒன் வேர்டு ஒன் லைன் ஆன்சர் மாதிரி சரிங்களா 151லேருந்து 180 வரைக்கும். ஸோ இதை பார்க்கலாமா? ஸோ இதில் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் கொஸ்டின் 151. Name the phenomena by which Hydra and Planaria can regenerate a whole organism from the lost body parts regeneration. Regeneration takes place as specialized mass of the cells that can give rise to a whole new organism. Name two organisms which reproduce through budding, yeast and Hydra. நமக்கு தெரியும் buddingல small projection bud rises on the parent body and develops in the daughter nuclei. 153. What will happen if you cut planaria into small fragments? Answer on the each fragment regenerate the new planaria. Planaria has a remarkable regenerative ability. Each fragment with enough cells can develop into complete new organism. 154. Why is vegetative propagation practiced for growing certain type of plants? It produces genetically identical plants quickly without needing seeds. Since vegetative propagation involves only mitosis with no gametic fusion, the daughter plants retain the exact desirable traits of the parent. 155. How does binary fission differ from multiple fission? Binary fission forms a two daughter nuclei. Multiple fission forms a many daughter cells or spores from one parent. Binary fission. Example amoeba is a simple two-way split, while multiple fission produces numerous offspring simultaneously from a single cell. 156. Name the activity that involves wetting a slice of bread and observing fungal growth over a week. Observation of spore formation, mold growth. This activity demonstrates asexual reproduction by spore formation, common in fungi like rhizophus. 157. In which part of the flower does germination of pollen grains take place? Stigma. Pollen grains reach the stigma, germinate, and form a pollen tube that grows towards a oval. 158. If one pollen grain produces two male gametes, how many pollen grains are needed to fertilize 10 ovals? 10 pollen grains. So 10 pollen. Each pollen grain delivers exactly 2 male gametes for double fertilization of one oval. So 10 ovals need 10 pollen grains. Question number 159. Mention the main function of endosperm. Provides a food nourishment to the developing embryo. The endosperm forms a triploid primary endosperm nucleus after triple fusion. 160. In angiosperm, the pollen tube carries two gametes. What is the purpose of carrying two gametes when one can fertilize the egg? To enable the double fertilization. One gamete fuses with the egg, synagamy, from the zygote, and the other fuses with the secondary nucleus, triple fusion, forming an endosperm. So, this dual fusion ensures the embryo gets a ready food supply endosperm along with the formation of zygote, both in single fertilization event. 161. Why are human testes located outside the abdominal cavity and name the pouch in which they are present? Answer: to maintain a lower temperature ideal for sperm production. The pouch is called scrotum. The spermatogenesis requires a temperature slightly lower than normal body temperature, which the scrotum provides. 162. What is the enzyme present in the acrosome of the sperm? So, என்ன enzyme பார்த்தீங்கன்னா hyaluronidase. This enzyme breaks down the protective layers of the ovum, helping the sperm entering during fertilization. Question number 163. Why does the menstrual cycle not take place before puberty and during pregnancy? Before puberty, sex hormones LH, FSH, estrogen, progesterone are not yet active. During pregnancy, the corpus luteum maintains a high progesterone, preventing menstruation. Before puberty, the hormonal cycle has not started. During pregnancy, persistent progesterone secretion sustains the uterine lining instead of shedding it. 164. Luteal phase of the menstrual cycle is also called the secretory phase. Give the reason. Because the corpus luteum secretes progesterone during this phase. This progesterone secretion prepares the endometrium for implantation in case fertilization has occurred. 165. Name the part of the human female reproductive system where fertilization occurs. Ampulla of the fallopian tube. Fertilization in humans is internal and occurs in the oviduct, especially in the ampulla region. 164. Name the part of the human female reproductive system where implantation occurs. Uterus, endometrium. The blastocyst attached to the uterine wall about 6 to 7 days after fertilization. 167. How does the developing embryo gets its nourishment inside the mother's body? Through the placenta. The placenta exchanges fluid materials, oxygen, waste products between maternal and fetal blood via the umbilical cord. 168. Name the hormone responsible for the vigorous contraction of the uterine muscles during childbirth. Oxytocin. Oxytocin secreted by the posterior pituitary and causes a parturition, expulsion of the baby. 169. What is a colostrum and how is milk production harmony regulated? Colostrum is the first milk secreted by the childbirth. Milk production is stimulated by the prolactin and milk excited by oxytocin. Colostrum contains immune substances essential for protecting the newborn during its early days. 170. What is the need for contraception? to prevent unwanted pregnancy and help control population growth. Contraception is one of the best birth control measures with barrier, hormonal, IUD and surgical methods available. 171. Why are family planning methods are not adopted by all the people of our country? During literacy, lack of awareness, social religious beliefs and poverty. சரிங்களா? Despite government efforts since 1952, social and cultural factors continue to limit adoption of family planning across India. 172. Name the surgical contraceptive method performed in males. Vasectomy அப்படின்னு ligation of vas deferens. சரிங்களா? This is a permanent method for birth control comparable to tubectomy in females. ஃபீமேல்ஸ்லாம் அது வந்து டியூபெக்டோமி அப்படிம்பாங்க. மேல்ஸ்லாம் வாஸ்கோட்டமி. 173. Name the bacteria related infection of the urinary bladder common in the age group 22-50 பார்த்தீங்கன்னா Citis bladder infection. Bacteria lodged in the urinary bladder thrive and multiply, leading to infection called cytisis. Name the type of UTI in which bacteria are present in the urinary bladder but show no symptoms. Asthmatic bacteria அப்படின்னு சொல்றது. Despite causing no symptoms, the bacteria can potentially spread and cause complication if untreated. Question 175. How can menstrual hygiene be maintained during menstrual days? Change sanitary pads regularly, clean genitals and with warm water and wear loose clothing. Regular pad changes prevent infection from microbes and sweat, while warm water helps relieve menstrual cramps. 176. When is World Menstrual Hygiene Day observed? Important question. May 28. This day creates awareness on maintaining menstrual hygiene through films, discussion and campaigns. 177. List the proper disposal method of sanitary napkins and tampons. Wrap properly before discarding. Do not flush down the toilet. Use napkin incinerators. Improper disposal of used napkins, tampons can spread infection, which is why proper wrapping and incineration are recommended. In 178, question number. In Tamil Nadu, what affordable technology did UNICEF develop to handle sanitary napkin waste at school? A firewood-based incinerator. A special waste also equipped where sanitary napkins are composed as part of this initiative. 179. What is the difference between personal hygiene and social hygiene? Personal hygiene is caring for one own body health. Social hygiene அப்படிங்கிறது surrounding environment உடைய proper care. Main aspects of hygiene covered by the body hygiene, food hygiene, sanitary hygiene and hygienic environment. 180. Name the WHO application that enables students to know about HIV tests and information. நம்ம ஐசிடி கார்னல் இருக்குது அண்ட் இது ஒரு இம்பார்ட்டன்ட் ஒன்று டிஎம்எஸ்லாம் கேட்கக்கூடிய ஒன்று. ஹெச்ஐவி டெஸ்டர்ஸ் இன்ஃபர்மேஷன் பற்றிலாம் தெரிஞ்சதுக்கு WHO எனபிள் பண்ண ஆப் அப்ளிகேஷன் என்ன அப்படின்னா WHO ஹிட்ஸ் HTS இன்ஃபோ அந்த ஆப் தான். அதில் நம்ம தெரிஞ்சுக்கலாம். This app includes updates on testing, surgeries, pre and post test services and latest HIV news. ஸோ 180 கொஸ்டின் கவர் பண்ணிட்டோம். இருந்தாலும் இன்னும் ஒரு சில ஒன் வேர்டு நம்ம ஆட் பண்ணலாம்னு சொல்லிட்டு ஒரு 4-5 ஒன் வேர்டு ஆட் பண்ணியிருக்கேன். ஹார்ட்ஸ் பின்னாடி இருக்க ஹார்ட்ஸ்லையும் இருக்குது, அந்த படம் தான் வச்சும் இருக்குது. படம் அந்த அந்த ரெஃபரன்ஸாக பண்ணியிருக்கேன். அந்த படத்தில் உள்ள கொஸ்டினை எப்படி கொஸ்டினாக மாற்றலாங்க ரெஃபர் பண்ணி இங்கே பண்ணியிருக்கேன். 181. In the LS, left side of the human testes, the small tubules that carry sperms from the seminiferous tubules to other embryos are called efferent ductless. இது அந்த பிக்சரை பார்த்தா தெரியும். 17.13. Sperms pass from the seminiferous tubules through the straight tubule, then efferent tubules. அங்கேருந்து இங்கே போகும் through the efferent. எங்கே போகுதுன்னா efferent tubules into the epidermis and finally vas deferens. Name the short, narrow tubule of the testis that connects the seminiferous tubule to efferent ductless. அப்படிங்கும்போது straight tubule அது பேர். The straight tubule is small connecting passage shown in the left hand side of the human testis. ஃபிகரில் நீங்கள் பார்க்கலாம் between the seminiferous tubules and efferent ductless. 183. Highly coiled tube located after the efferent ductless where sperm are stored gets concentrated and mature is known as a epidermis. Epidermis is a single highly coiled tube where sperms mature and store before passing into the vas deferens. 184. In the left hand side of the human ovary, figure இப்போ நீங்கள் 70.14ல பாருங்க, the structure formed immediately after the rupture of the graphian follicle is called the primary follicle, rupture follicle, corpus albulation, mature follicle கொடுத்துருவாங்க, rupture follicle. After the graphian follicle ruptures and the place of the ovum, the remaining structure, ruptured follicle, develops into the early corpus luteum. So last question. In fertilization does not occur, the corpus luteum rearranges into the scale-like structure called. ரொம்ப இம்பார்ட்டன்ட் கொஸ்டின். கார்பஸ் ஆல்பிகன்ஸ், பிரைமரி ஃபாலிக்கல், க்ரோவிங் ஃபாலிக்கல், டெவலப்பிங் ஃபாலிக்கல். ஆன்சர் ஏ, கார்பஸ் ஆல்பிகன்ஸ். சரிங்களா? ஸோ இந்த ஃபிகரில் நீங்கள் 70.14 பார்க்கலாம். இந்த சீக்வன்ஸ் வந்து பிரைமரி ஃபாலிக்கல், அப்புறம் க்ரோயிங் ஃபாலிக்கல், டெவலப்பிங் ஃபாலிக்கல், மெச்சூர், கிராஃபியம் ஃபாலிக்கல். சரிங்களா? ஸோ ரப்சர்ட் ஃபாலிக்கல், இயர்லி கார்பஸ் லூட்டியம், அப்புறம் அங்கேருந்து கார்பஸ் லூட்டியமுக்கு வருது, அதுக்கப்புறம் கார்பஸ் ஆல்பிகன்ஸ் அப்படின்னு வருது. இஃப் ஃபெர்டிலைசர் டஸ் நாட் அக்கர். ஸோ 185 வரைக்கும் உண்டான ஒன்னோட எடுத்திருக்கேன். இதை நீங்கள் ரீட் பண்ணுங்கள். இதனாலே உங்களுக்கு அந்த யூனிட்டே கவர் ஆயிரும். எதுவும் டவுட் இருந்தால் கேளுங்க. நம்ம நெக்ஸ்ட் வீடியோவில் நெக்ஸ்ட் யூனிட்டை பார்க்கலாம். தேங்க்ஸ் ஃபார் வாட்சிங்.